right, hello and welcome to Brains and Broads podcast. I'm Chuck Teray.
I'm Wendy Sloan.
And Brains and Bronze is a weekly podcast designed to give you both sides of the story and help you better understand your world. Today we're brought to you by Astute Productions, where ideas take form, and Patriot Focus, turning everyday people into entrepreneurs and helping small businesses grow. So today we are joined by Mike Liming. Okay, he's a real estate broker and kind of a all-around entrepreneur.
Right.
Jack of all trades, kind of like myself, so I like that. We'll be talking to him a little bit today about what he does, where he comes from, what he's into. Wendy had a pretty exciting vacation to Boston and stuff, so we'll get into that.
I spoke at the National Guild of Hypnotists conference on soul charts.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that first then.
Okay.
So what'd you do?
Well, it was on Sunday. I was one of the last speeches. There was about 25-30 people in the room, and I demonstrated a soul chart and how to use soul charts as building rapport with new hypnosis clients.
Nice.
So it was well received.
Good.
What more says, it really should be a 2-hour seminar.
Yeah, I'm sure you could talk forever about that.
Yeah.
Did you ever, so those soul charts, did you put them on the website so people can download them?
I had the forms to give them.
Oh, to give them, okay.
To give them, so I didn't have to do a website.
Cool.
Yeah.
And took some personal time up there?
One day of vacation time on Monday.
Did you take the little boat, the little duck boat thing that they have? Do you see those things?
I did. I chose the opposite company.
I saw those things driving around and I couldn't wrap my hand around it. And it turns out that it's a boat that drives around and then it goes into the water and does a tour. So they do a tour around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, why are they driving around in a giant boat?
Yep, now you know. And of course I had to go to Cheers. Norm was not there, but...
No, yeah. I went there too when we were...
It was a Bull and Finch pub, it used to be called.
Right, yeah. It's that little downtown, like the cobblestone streets and all the...
there's a nice park right across the street from it.
What do you call it? The architecture over there is awesome.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Gone back in town.
So what was the main audience there? Like, were they all speakers?
They were hypnotists. Some people have been in business for years. Some are like in their 90s, 80s, 70s, still working with people. Some are stage hypnotists.
Okay.
And then some see clients individually for different, working with everyday people with everyday problems.
Exactly. Nice.
There's some medical hypnotists, but they get a written referral from a doctor.
Oh, okay.
Or a mental health practitioner.
Yeah.
Yep.
That reminded me, I was talking to this lady, right here on University, there's a Hyperbaric Chamber place there.
Okay.
I don't know why this reminded me of it, but because it's one of those like little known things that you kind of hear about, but you don't really know. And I went in there and it's the same thing. You can get a doctor's note to go to these things. And it's like this giant glass tube that you go in, and it's like...
takes all the sound away, right?
Yeah, and they fill it up with like oxygen, and it's supposed to like it gives you all this oxygen to all your muscles and your veins and everything. It's just like one of these crazy things, but I guess they have some sort of system now where they can do it without a doctor's note, so people can do it on their own. Whereas before it was crazy expensive to go in, and I think it's still pretty expensive to do it, but anyway.
Well, if it works, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta spend the
it's
money.
pretty interesting, you know, like the stuff that helps people out that's not common knowledge, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, instead of like, here's some Percocet or some Xanax or something, you know.
There's so many other ways than to just drug the nation with that.
Well, our guest, Michael, I might as well tell everybody how I met him. I had put my house up for sale, the lake house, I call it, the lake house up for sale.
Yeah.
And I guess it's been on the market 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah,
and he brought me a buyer. So he brought the buyer so we're under contract right now.
So you're relatively new in the area, right?
In the area...
I mean, not to real estate, but...
Well, I mean, not to both. You know, like I said, pre-interview, I've been coming here. My family's from Miami originally.
Right.
So, all throughout, I've been coming vacationing. I lived here in my early 20s for a few years. Got into a bad motorcycle accident. So I had a surgery, whatnot, taken care of. So that kind of took me out of everything, and I went back to Atlanta.
Was it like a street bike? Or?
Yeah. It was actually off of Samples in 95. I got hit by an excursion on 95. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
On 95, so you're 65 plus.
I was 80 plus. Last thing, I can't remember the accident at all. I remember like the helicopter landing, the ambulances and everything coming in. That's when I like came to.
Yeah.
But the last thing I remember was seeing headlights in my side views, and I looked down. I was doing around 80, and then I woke up. You know,
So he hit you from behind?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's rare.
It's kind of drug out story of why that happened. I was not, you know,
It was road rage situation.
more or less. I mean, he went to cut me off. I, you know, gave him the California high, and it was just the wrong person to do it to.
Right.
You know, a bike versus any type of vehicle, the best thing to do.
Was it like a Ninja Gixxer?
It was a Gixxer.
Gixxer,
Yeah,
yeah.
GSXR 1000.
I grew up riding dirt bikes, so
Mhm.
I love motorcycles like Harleys and stuff like that, like little
Oh, yeah.
Hondas. But I rode my buddy. I was in the Army. I was in Fort Bragg, and my buddy
Mhm.
had a Gixxer, and I was always riding dirt bikes and stuff. And he's like, "No, try this thing out," you know. And I get on it, and you're sitting way forward, you know. So I'm not really. I'm used to, you know, kind of like
Laid back. Yeah,
laid
my
back.
uncle's diehard Harley fan.
Yeah, yeah. So I like that kind of cruise feel on a motorcycle. And he's like, "No, try this thing out." And so I get on his Gixxer, and I think that thing went like 50 miles an hour almost in first gear. Or I mean, it was like second gear was like maybe
red
50.
line at 60. I mean, you know, it could be different now. Or like 62 is first gear.
Yeah.
You can basically hit triple digits in second. You
Yeah,
know,
it was-
third. You're well into
It was definitely not my style.
All right,
Like,
so I'm going to throw out the line and start to reel you guys in.
no, we're learning about that.
About-
So okay, so that's crazy. That's it's dangerous, man. Like
It
out
is.
here, the drivers are bad.
Well,
so.
you seem like you're on the path to be a serial entrepreneur, and that's what fascinated
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you when we met yesterday for coffee.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, I am. I definitely.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your work history? What did you?
I mean, I originally wanted to go to school for cars. Huge BMW
okay,
advocate.
cars. All right.
Unfortunately, in my early 20s, you know, stupidity got the best of me. I got a DUI, and that canceled everything I could do with cars. You
Right.
cannot be insured if you have a DUI.
Right.
So, you know, that led me to just kind of figuring things out. You know, so I was bartending. I've been doing that since 18. Here and there jobs. My mom owns a security company, so, you know, I tried doing the family business. It didn't work out. And then I realized that I can't work for people. You know, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not going to BS. You know, I can't have
Do you
somebody.
know the saying about that? There's a saying that if you're an entrepreneur, you're employable.
I'm 100%
You heard that, right?
unemployable.
Yeah, I think we all feel that.
Yeah.
And I don't want somebody telling me when to come to work, how much money I'm worth. I mean, who are you to decide how much money I am to make?
Right.
So for me, it was kind of like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. And then I got the opportunity to get into real estate, which I've always been a huge fan of. And, you know, I thought this is going to be quick money. You know, real estate's easy.
Yeah, it's hard.
So rude awakening.
People can make. There's an opportunity to make good money or a lot of money,
Oh,
but then you can lose all your money in real estate too.
I mean, you can. You know, a lot of people, when I try to explain
Over-leverage.
to new agents and people that are thinking about coming into the business, it's like, look, one, you have to know how to budget your money, okay? Because you're not going to become an overnight success. I mean,
Right.
there's very, very few that do, but nobody sees the actual work they put in behind it. I mean, you know, people see a guy that's making, we'll say, you know, $50,000 a month selling real estate. They don't realize he works 17 hours a day. He sees his family an hour a day, maybe two, if he's lucky on the weekend. You know, so.
And it's 7 days a week too.
Oh yeah,
Like,
7 days a week, 100%. I do not know the difference between a Tuesday and Saturday. I could not tell you other than like I know the name of the day. There's no difference to me. It's not like I see a Friday come along and I'm like, whoa, it's Friday. I could care less if it's Friday. Okay, I know on a Friday I'm not going to a bar. Okay, because that's just taken away from time I could be learning, studying, or helping somebody out.
Yeah.
So
Plus, a lot
rather-
of clients want to see you at 9 o'clock on Saturday.
Oh, they do. I'll get calls at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. Hey, what's going on with this? Or how's this going? And it's like, hey, just check out the email. You know, I sent that to you, explaining everything.
It's all there,
You know,
I promise.
give me a call if you have questions, and that's what I tell them. Just like I told you yesterday, give me a call anytime. There's a certain amount of time I won't answer my phone.
Yeah,
and
so
that's
what is
because-
that for our audience? You know?
The not answering the phone.
Yeah, or like how do you carve out a little bit of personal time? Because I know you mentioned you have a girlfriend. So how do you maneuver your flexibility with your work, with your relationship?
I don't.
Oh.
To be honest, I don't believe in a work-life balance. You know, my girlfriend is well aware of where my goals are. Her goals are shared with mine. You know, we want to be constantly improving and helping each other, other people. So we're on the same understanding. It's like, look, we take usually a half day every Thursday, and we call it like, you know, Adventure Thursdays, and we'll figure out something we can go do. Now, with that said, that is after the main money-making activities have been taken care of for the day.
Right.
So for me, it's prospecting in the morning, doing my follow-up. If we have anything else going on, you know, we take care of that, and then we go out and do it. And that way, you know, it does kind of help a little bit, but that's really the only balance we have there. Other than that, you know,
And does that ever, do you have to switch it to a different time, or do you always do something on a Thursday?
we try 99% of the time we do something on a Thursday. If it's an all-day event, we'll usually take like a Tuesday or something. But then again, it's always going to be after work. You know, work activities are completed.
So what does she do?
She is, right now she owns the cleaning company in Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
We've got a small one here. Not really sure if we're going to expand on that or just kind of keep it.
Right.
She's great at marketing. So
okay.
as of right now, she's building my website, Facebook, social media. She does all of that for me. And we also work with a nonprofit for animals. Down here, there's a lot of animals that just kind of get thrown out on the side of the road, literally.
Right.
So we have huge hearts for that. So we'll take in and foster them. She builds their website for them, does all the marketing for that.
Try to find them homes.
Of course, yeah, definitely. So, I mean, she's tied up in that constantly. We both work from home, so it's a lot easier to spend time together. You know,
okay.
my office is on this side of the apartment, hers is over here. So we're separated, but when lunchtime comes around, you know, we eat together. We live on the intercoastal, so if we want to have a romantic lunch or whatever, we'll go grab some food and, you know, go sit out by the water and just, you know, talk for a little bit.
That's cool that you have that shared kind of self-sustained, I guess, business and home relationship, you know, where you can do your own thing and do it, because, I mean, like, my wife has a standard job, you know, so it's hard because I'm like you, I don't understand the days and all that, but I feel them because my kid's in school and my wife's Monday through Friday, you know, so it's like I'm kind of like in like both worlds, I guess, at all times.
But, I mean, you guys, you know, when she started that or you did this, you know, you talked about it, right?
Oh, yeah,
Look,
yeah,
this is, okay, and that's what a lot of people...
She's super supportive of the whole
Yeah,
thing.
you have to be. You have to be supportive. I've told her, you know, plenty of times, do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy, as long as it brings in a little bit of money.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, we have bills we have to pay. You know, we have to eat. So
what else did you do? I'm gonna get rid of my dog. So what else did you do when you were before real estate?
it was a lot of bartending, and I actually installed water coolers for a company up there for businesses. And basically, what that is
So
kind
it
of
was a sales job? Did you have to get the accounts, or were you?
I didn't have to get the accounts. I just had to do the work. And like I said before, all of that, I didn't know really how good I was at sales, or you know how much it made me happy.
Right.
But that's when I really started realizing that, hey, you know, I could probably make a decent living off of this. At the time, I was making $30,000 annually, you know, before taxes.
Right.
So I mean, I was bringing home crumbs and barely able to live, and it sucked.
Yeah.
I hated it. So when I got the opportunity, or well, actually, there were a lot of people that would write back and be like, you know, we're keeping this because of Michael. He was awesome, the way he explained everything, his attitude, and all of that. So that kind of gave me the little bump to like, let's check out some different things, you know, areas of sales.
Right.
And I've always had a thing for real estate, so I figured let's jump into it, see what it's really about.
Nice. How old were you when you started that?
I was 27.
27. How old are you now?
31.
31. Okay. Awesome. So, yeah, the sales thing is it's a different world when you're doing you know, commission-based job. You know, no salary and stuff like that. It's like, because I've done plenty of this. I do some of that now, and it kind of forces you to go down a certain path, you know, with physically and emotionally. That's kind of like, you know, you get out of the car and you're like, oh, I'm really going to do this. And then all of a sudden you just have to be, you know, you have to be in that moment. It's weird to think about.
Controlling your emotional state is, that's one of the biggest things in sales.
Right.
Because it's all about how you make that other person feel and the value you can bring to them.
Right.
A lot of salespeople are so worried about their money, even when if they don't have any, you can smell like it's what we call commission breath.
Right.
Yeah. The fear.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're gonna lose so many sales in that. You got to realize in any sales job, you're providing value.
Right.
To somebody else.
Right,
So
right.
get over that.
Yeah.
Get over your fear. Get over all the bull crap, and just be in that perfect state.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is you're selling, when you sit in front of that customer, like it's about them. You need to be happy. You need to show energy. That hey, boom, and it's draining, especially when you like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make my car payment this month. But you continue.
I know that feeling sometimes you leave here, it's like it's like exhausting.
Literally,
like a 10,
there's been
15-minute conversation.
Yeah, I'll go home and I'll literally just pass out and be like, you didn't really do much today. It's like you have no idea how like emotionally draining it is to be on that point all the time.
That's cool.
And then how about budgeting? You mentioned that. How do you try to budget? Like you get a big closing.
Well, I'm a huge numbers guy to begin with. Everything I do is numbers. So what I want to do is I know exactly how much money I have to make per month. So I take all of that. If let's say I make a $10,000 paycheck, I know I owe 37 and some change every single month. So 2 months is automatically coming out of that paycheck, and that's your little safety net. And I try to do that
just
every closing, just in case, because in any sales job, you could bank for 2 months, and you might not make anything for 6.
Right.
And if you didn't set it up right, and you're not proactively prospecting, like that money is gone.
Right. Yeah.
So, for one, I see the big picture. But for two, I'll cut out going out. I cut everything out as much as I can to make sure I have that money in that nest.
Right.
So you have to know your numbers. You got to know what you're bringing in, what you're putting out every single month. And being in commission, it's hard to know what you're bringing in.
Right.
So
yeah, because you can't really. It's hard to project.
Exactly.
But over a period of time, do you see a pattern that you sort of can project?
Yeah. I mean, in any sales job, like for me, it's on the phones a lot of the time. That's how I get my clients, especially now that I'm newer to this area.
Right.
So you got to know your Then again, you got to know your numbers, and it takes a lot of stress away when you know your numbers. I know if I call 40 people, I'm getting 2 appointments. I know statistically out of those 2 appointments, I'm going to get 1 listing. And now, me personally, I can confidently say I sell 100% of my listings, but that's because I price them to sell. I price them where it's going to be. Like I was speaking with you yesterday, I don't overprice anything, and I will walk away from a listing if it's overpriced, because putting a sign in the yard doesn't put food on my table.
Right.
And
then you just have an angry seller or disillusioned seller that's not realistic.
It's a compound effect when you get into that. Yes, you're going to have an angry seller.
Right.
Okay, there's your first and foremost. You're not going to be able to provide the value and job you said you're going to do for yours. But, think about it on the broader spectrum. Everybody in that neighborhood sees your sign. They see your sign there for 6 months. And then they see another person's sign. Okay, well, a month later, that sign's under contract. Everybody in that neighborhood now thinks that you cannot perform your job.
Because your sign's been there.
Because your sign's been there. Okay, now your sign's gone, and another sign comes up, and under contract sign goes under there within 30 days. Okay, well, I mean, even to me, I'm going to look and be like, okay, that person is not doing something right.
Right.
Okay, now I can go in through the back end and look and be like, okay, well, the pictures were horrible. They're overpriced by $100,000. They didn't do any price reductions. There's a 48-hour notice to show the property. These are all things that compound. You're not going to get it sold. So.
That's interesting. I never really thought that far into it, but yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're not putting in the work, if you're doing all the...
You have to put in the work, man, 100%. And this is one of the... And I was telling her yesterday, it gets me very angry because I do get emotional, like in my business. I love it. It's the one profession that anybody can get into, and 90% of the people are amateurs in it.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad agents out there.
We deal with 9 times out of 10 the biggest asset that somebody has. Now, if you were a lawyer or a doctor or a dentist or anything like that, they're professional. They don't go in saying, oh, well, you could do this or you could do that. No, they say, look, this is what you need to do to get this result. If you don't get this result, it's not going to happen. Yeah. I think agents should be able to study and learn and do more like that and come in strong and confident. Look, this is where you need to be, not second guessing yourself. As soon as you second guess yourself, you've lost.
Right. So I think with real estate is if you have a range of what you think the value of the house or what it should sell for, how much do you think that you should put? Because everybody wants a deal. Everybody wants to feel like they can negotiate a little bit. What's the percentage over that you allow sellers to? Like an extra $5,000.
Well, it's got to appraise at it too.
Right,
so
and that's the thing.
I try.
So you don't have a formula or a rule of thumb?
I don't. Okay. I don't list over prices. If I do, and I've done it before, but at the when we're signing the listing paperwork, I've also got a price reduction. Okay, and I'm going to sit down and be like, look, we'll try it at your price, and I can go through numbers why you shouldn't do this. Mm-hmm. But, at the end of the day, if they're not going to budge and this is one listing you think you can get sold, provided, they'll work with you, then I'm going to say, okay, that's your price. This is where you want to try it at. Have it noted. I do not think this is where we need to be. So we'll go there for 7 days. Sign this after 7 days without talking to you. I'm going to drop it. This is where we're going to put it at.
Yeah, because you don't want your sign out there for 2 months.
Well, I don't want my sign out there, but I also I guarantee my sales. I know a lot of agents will not guarantee what they'll get. Oh, really? I mean, if you go to somewhere and they're like, I can get $600 for your house. Well, your house is only worth $500, okay? And an agent says, oh, can you guarantee it? Well, they're going to say no. But if I come out and I say, look, I can get $500 for your house and I can get it in under 30 days. Well, can you guarantee it? Yeah. Nice. If I don't get it sold, I got 2 guarantees that I use a lot. One is if I can't sell it within 30 days, all you have to do is write to me, via email, whatever, that you don't want to work with me anymore. I'll pay the fees to get you off of MLS and take it off. Because, if you don't want to work with me, then I don't want to pressure you.
No, it's good. You're putting your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. Yeah. And I literally will put my money where my mouth is. Yeah. I tell them, up to $20,000, because especially down here when you get into the $2, $3, $4, $5 million houses, 1% is a lot of money. Yeah. So what I tell them is if I can't get it sold within 30 days, I'll take 1% off, and I will literally give you back 1%. Nice. At the closing table. I mean, there's a lot that goes into that. There's a list of things that the house has to meet, and if they can meet that, then I will 100% put my money where my mouth is, because I know what I'm doing.
It's good to have a real estate agent that takes, that takes it seriously like that. You know what I mean? Like that really gets into their job. And like we sold our house in California, and we were lucky because one of my wife's best friends just got into real estate. He had been into it for a little bit, but he reminds me of you, and he's just very he just loves it. Like he's studying, always studying, and and he's always calling us with like, all right, I found, he's like researching stuff. Like, okay, I found that we can do blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like everything he did was like DocuSign and like super, it was like the easiest process. And then when we bought this house, we had like the exact opposite. This lady, she's super knowledgeable. She was like probably in her 60s, but she had been in Florida like almost her whole life, but she was like from Germany. So it was, but totally different. Like wouldn't do anything electronic. Like she'd be like, oh, I forgot to put the date. I need you to sign this paper. Can you meet me like, half an hour away? I'm like driving all over the place to sign a piece of paper that I signed yesterday. Then I'm like, well, why don't you just take a picture of it, send it to me, I'll print it out, and then sign it, and then take a picture and send it back. And she's just like, and I was like, oh my God. Like,
yeah, you got to keep up with the time.
I mean, the process of selling, and then she was great. She knew the area, she knew what we liked, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it was like, my wife's working full time. I was like hitting my head against the wall, going, "Come on, lady!"
Right.
I think realtors are a little bit higher on the curve with technology.
Well, I mean, you have to be. Yeah. Especially the technology market and everything in the last 5-10 years has just, changed so much, and it's changing daily.
Well, that virtual tour, like that Google and everything does, it kind of, that was one of the first big places that was on MLS.
The virtual tours. I mean, even now, I'm working on getting it, is the Matterport system, which is the, dollhouse walkthrough. So instead of like the virtual tour that you see now, it's kind of a slideshow of pictures, more or less.
Well, you press like the arrow and it goes
you
forward.
That actually walks.
And you can drag the photo 360.
Yeah. Okay. See.
Yeah.
Now that's actually been on for 3-4 years.
Right.
And now it's just now starting to come to life.
Well, that's trickling into other business now too. 'Cause,
Definitely.
like Google Local does that now. That's what I help. I have a local company called APC Vision, and they do that exact same thing for Google Local listings.
Yeah.
So,
I was actually on Google Earth the other day checking out places in Miami Beach, and I actually just realized that they were doing that. And I went down to Street View and then clicked on the front of the door, and it just right into the office. And I was like, oh.
So Better Body Day Spa in Fort Lauderdale, where I see Hypnosis
That's right.
clients and massage. We've had that done.
It's awesome. It takes so much out of the fear of just not knowing,
Right.
And a lot of people have that fear, even like going into there, going into any type of office. If you've seen it ahead of time, you know where the desk is laid out, you know where the chairs are, and it's just that small, minute bit that helps ease you.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than that listing that has like the street view picture, which is like usually a pretty crummy picture, and it's just the front of the building and then nothing else.
Or the aerial view with an arrow pointing to it.
Oh, yeah, that for real estate agents?
Yeah.
The Google Maps.
So really, the business of real estate has changed.
Dramatically.
Realtors are more like consultants. We have access to the homes with electronic lockbox or keys, and there's still a lot of running around that realtors still do in helping and advising buyers and sellers.
My client for your house, she's in Washington. She will buy this house, never laying eyes on it physically.
Washington State or DC?
State.
Oh, and is she moving here or is she just buying it?
No, she's moving.
Oh, okay.
But it took the time and effort of running around, videoing these houses, because there's a lot of houses down here on the MLS that they don't have good pictures. Right. Even the professional pictures, there's some that are amazing, but there's majority of them that have a couple aerial views, a shot or two of the outside, and then like a shot of the bathroom.
Right.
On the inside, and you want $500,000 for this house, $300,000.
And they stand like halfway in the room and take the picture.
And they're in the like you can see them in the mirror and all this. I have this one on Facebook where a guy, and I'm hoping it wasn't an agent, but took a picture of a bathroom and you can see him in the reflection, and he's standing in his little whitey tighties.
Nice.
And this was on the MLS.
Oh, that's
awesome.
Yeah, something.
Something's got to give on that.
And he had to upload it too, which means he had to look at it.
Exactly. Like he had to see it, But that just...
Maybe he clicked the wrong one.
Maybe he had two shots.
He clicked the wrong one.
He should have gone back to look at his pictures.
When I go through all of my photos when I'm putting them onto the MLS.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Then I put them onto the MLS. Then I go onto the MLS and relook at the photos.
As if you were a customer.
Exactly. I want them in a certain range, a certain order. I want them like, here's the outside, here's the front door, here's what you first see when you come in, all the way around the house.
So it's not like front door, bathroom, back door,
kitchen. Come on, you're so confused.
Washer and dryer.
Bedroom, washer and dryer. You want it to make sense. Like
you do. So, but back to like running around, taking video, that's the same thing. I went to probably, 15 houses. In the span of like...
And she did come to Florida at least one time or two times? Or how? Did she ever come to Florida that you took her around?
No. Everything's been through phone, video, email.
It's amazing that technology is, what it does for,
to help people.
Anything. Someone may never think about that, but like what it has allowed us to do in all aspects of life. Like you can buy a house from literally almost as far away as you can get from Florida, right? In Washington State, probably just about the farthest you can possibly get without ever coming here. And she probably knows exactly what the house looks like, the neighborhood, all that because of technology.
Well, she knows everything. We were looking in Miami, Palm Beach, more Boca, and then all of Broward County. Boca is a beautiful area,
right?
But the majority of the homes up there are mandatory required memberships. So you're buying a beautiful house at $250,000, but what they don't tell you is there's a $70,000 entrance fee, and that doesn't go into equity. That goes to the club.
Yeah.
Okay, just say, hey, that's the neighborhood I live in. So,
Right.
you know,
That's
it's
your
hard.
HOA. I mean, is HOA on top of that?
Oh yeah. So
I bet that's not cheap. Either.
I mean, on average, I'd say about 400.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
but I've seen some that are $70. You know, $50.
Yeah.
I've seen some that
I think
are
ours is like
1,500.
Yeah.
You know, so it really depends where you're at and what you're getting. And for somebody to be in Washington, not knowing this,
What would you give like advice to, you know, you're young guys, so someone kind of maybe coming from your position as far as, you know, obviously you have the real estate background, but just the aspect of working for yourself in general and not, you know, the guys that are out there like, I don't want to get a job, you know, what advice would you give them, or like what would you tell yourself when you were 22?
I mean, if I could go back now, one of the biggest things I would say is, you know, get involved in self-development and learning as much as possible. I mean, read books.
Right.
You know, I read 5-6 books a month minimum.
Nice.
And not everything's going to be great. You're going to work your ass off. You know, but you're going to work very hard. You're going to work long hours. But here's the thing. Is if you can dedicate yourself for 2-3 years of working as hard as you can, you're going to live the rest of your life, you know, like 99% of people won't, because they're not willing to put in the effort.
Right.
You have to put in the effort. So, you know, basically be willing to put in the work, be willing to sacrifice a lot. Don't go out on the weekends. Don't go party with your friends. Don't go to the bars. Sit at home and learn.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, those two are the biggest things, self-development and quit going out.
Is your 22-year-old self listening to you right now?
Oh, hell no. No. I mean, at 22, I was a bartender, you know, just got out of college. And I didn't know anything. All I knew was, hey, I'm in my early 20s. I've got plenty of time. You know, I didn't know about entrepreneurship at its fullest.
Right.
I knew I didn't like working for people, and I knew if I worked for myself, I could eventually do well, but that was it. I knew nothing else. I was dumb to it all.
Well, I think that's a good point. Is a lot of people think like, oh, I can jump into this, you know, and I'm a hard worker, and I'll do this for, you know, in their mind, I'll do this for a long time, which is like, you know, 6 months, maybe.
Yeah, 6
or
months
something
is,
like that, or 6 months, maybe a year, and then by then I'll be, you know, I'll be the man or whatever.
No, yeah,
and it's,
yeah. A lot of
it's
people
not,
think
but,
that.
But you got to think relative in life, like a year or 2 years as you get older, you know, the percentage of that of your life is nothing.
No.
You know, and especially like if it takes you 6 months to go to school for something. So let's say you're interested in, you know, real estate or IT or something like that. Like that 6 month period, they might think like, oh, that's a lot of time, wasted time just sitting there learning. It's like, no, like that's really nothing at all.
It's not.
And 2 years of your life of giving up, you know, going out a little bit here and there and stuff like that to dedicate yourself, like really isn't a lot of time
And
in
if
the long run.
like I said, big picture person. So at 22, I'd be looking at if I can bust my butt for the next, we'll say 5 years, at 27, which is what I wish I would have done.
Right.
In those 5 years, I failed a lot.
Right.
You know, and that's another thing I would love to say.
And that's a
is,
good thing. You
That's
fail.
good.
Is
Fail
failing-
as much as you physically, possibly,
Yeah.
mentally can. Fail. Because every time you fail, you learn something.
Right.
So you're not going to do it again. So fail as much as you can, but work on building that up. So when you hit 30, 35, you can go on that 2-week vacation. You can take a month off if you really want to. You
Right.
know, provided you've done everything right. You've studied, you've learned the systems, and you implement them.
Yep.
So, I mean,
And I have one last question for you.
of course.
Where do you see yourself going from here in the next? What is the next 5 years, 3-5 years look for you? For you.
So I can tell you the next 4 because I've got it to when
Okay, 4, all
I'm
right.
35. I've got that planned out. I want to have this up and running. When I say this, I mean the Lyman Group. You know, to where I have a few buyers agents, a few listing agents, and then I really want to hit hard into coaching and personal development from me out to other people, so I can show them like I didn't come from a rich background. I didn't come, you know, I messed up as a kid. I did a lot of stupid things, but you can change and you can help other people. So from now till 35, I want to have my business up and doing well. So that'll be 9 years in real estate.
Right.
And then really start to anchor into mentorships and coaching. And I plan on retiring off of both of those two. You know, I mean, I want to do that, both of them for the rest of my life until basically I kick over. You know.
Yeah. And you can do them from anywhere.
Yeah, you can do it from home. I mean, with technology, you know,
Yeah.
we can Skype. You know, I talk to people almost every morning. We do role playing and all of that for real estate all across the country, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, if you can give them that little incentive to help them out, and maybe something you say changes their day, their week, their year,
Yeah.
I feel accomplished.
Yeah, we had Kingsley Grant on a few weeks ago, and that's what he does. He does a lot of self-coaching, mentorship, and he said he does pretty much all of it online. Skype
Yeah,
sessions.
that's what I do. I do hypnosis
Yeah.
with Skype. Soul
Yeah,
charts.
see, I would love
Yeah.
to be able to, you know, that's where I want to be, and
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm gonna be.
Right.
You know, hands down, I work 7 days a week to get there.
Right.
You know, my plan is to retire at 40. When I say retire, I mean I don't have to physically do any more work other than what I want
Choose
to do,
Right.
choose to do, and live a great life.
Yeah. It's a great plan. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank
Really
you.
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
it. So you can get a hold of Mike at Facebook. You said is the best place for now because you're still getting your website.
Yeah,
and
you can get a hold of me Facebook, Michael Liming, Palmer House Properties, South Florida, or just Michael Liming. I mix my personal and business. I know a lot of people don't like to, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm transparent.
Well, you're a brand.
Yeah.
Your name's a
Yeah,
brand.
and I'm transparent. You know, this is me 24/7.
Yeah.
That they can email me, michaeldliming@gmail.com.
And that's LIMING.
Correct. And you know, if they want, they can give me a call. 678-858-5378. My phone's open to anybody.
There you go. All right. Well, again, appreciate you coming on. Any last words, Wendy?
I just want to thank you again for coming
thank
on
you for
today,
having
and
me,
hopefully
guys.
everything will go nice and smooth
Yes,
with
it
our
will.
closing.
It will. Oh, no, that hands down, we're good.
Yes, we're good.
We'll take care of that.
So as always, you can check out the Love Energy thread on Amazon or through the website, brainsandbronzepodcast.com, patriotfocus.com, all that good stuff.
AstuteProductions.com.
AstuteProductions.com. And I guess until next time, thanks for joining us.